They do see that the Drake is really low. Smite's going to come down. Blue team's able to secure it. Fight is actually going to break out. Exhaust going on to pace time in order to kind of keep them going. The huge Cassiopeia ult misses as RHC gets caught out, and unfortunately TAS just don't have the health bars in order to keep going, so they're going to have to use a lot of resources to try and escape. We do see Gua having to flash out as well as Cassiopeia, so that is, again, just so much burn for that Drake.
He really can't take the all-in unless he has a big health advantage. Set's very comfortable to lose half his health bar. I like this play bot lane. There's the ulti.
That is a nice dodge. It goes right in between. That is a split miss, unfortunately, but it's not going to really matter to get the double knockout from the tornado. Onbo getting really low, and that's going to be the Ashe just shredding them apart. Look at that damage. Beshi going under tower to pick up the double kill.
Yeah, you cannot run from those two in that bot lane. It's not possible. There's no way. Agua tries to stay to keep
little
Onbo.
damage at this point in the game. Aatrox getting a nice knockout. We have the tether coming down as well. Kiana's going to get shut down. That is going to be the set ultimate pulling K1ZZ away as he takes him into the rest of the Alfonso. Massive peacemaker hitting 3 members of Chaz, and that is going to be a nice crystal arrow to get the stun onto Cassiopeia, and that is going to be the rest of Church of Alfonso shoving it down this mid lane, and that is going to be an easy Baron call for them to make. My goodness, this right here, we got a nice fight coming out. That's going to be the backstop as the bot lane keeps on pushing. Cage is going to come out, but unfortunately there's no damage on the side of Taz, and they're not able to find picks. Church of Alfonso is just absolutely trying to look at Cold Blaster getting hit by a lot of damage, but he's going to go down. Beshiwap is able to go godlike Cold Blaster on a rampage, and then that's a nice stun that's good, or bit of damage coming out on Paytime as he manages to hit Gua right in the face with the hula hoop.
Welcome back, everyone. Game 3, about to roll us in. We're 1-1 apiece between Church of Alfonso and Team Asworth. I am joined newly by the War Leader.
Hello.
And we're going to be just jumping straight into draft here. So, I mean, similarities to the previous games. We have Graves, Galio, and Azir taken away. Those aren't basically anything new off the table. The Janna newly being added to the ban list from Asworth. And I think that a big part of that is just, it was so instrumental in the last game to just make sure that Alfonso was able to run around as a team and just get on top of everybody, and now they've made that adjustment, but the Ashe first pick still comes through.
Yeah, I'm really surprised to see Ashe being first pick. It is very dominant in lane, but it's not something that's very popular on the patch. Something that's not dominant in lane, however, is Vayne, so I'm really surprised to see that one being picked up for Gua very early in this one.
Yeah, and Gua, you know, didn't look bad in the previous time, but really Ashe should just completely dominate Vayne in lane. This should not be a close contention. But Beshiwap maybe not looking like the biggest bully in lane on that Ashe before, so maybe they're not super worried about it. They want to give Gua that's something that's going to scale a bit better into the later parts of this game, which of course they didn't have with Kai'Sa before, and the Lulu potentially to keep her enchanted up, and yes, they will.
Yep, they're going to draft the Lulu, try and keep the Vayne alive for as long as possible, give her a little bit more damage. Vayne does prioritize a lot of attack speed in an early build for the Silver Bolts, so that's going to pair nicely with Lulu's on-hit and the ability to boost that attack speed even higher. Looks like the answer from the side of Church of Alfonso is going to be that Thresh that we have seen before. Yeah, so far this bot lane looks very Church of Alfonso favorite. I would not be surprised to see bot lane go the same as the last game. The change to set makes me think that that's a set support, but it's probably a true flex, and they're just trying to bait me with the switch.
Yeah, no, and obviously Cold Blaster did a really good job of neutralizing the Aatrox in the previous game. Would not be impossible for LTY to pick this up in the bot lane. Looks like they're gonna maybe take Thresh anyway. Yes, they are. Okay, so just showing the Thresh for a little bit there, switching to set, and then actually ended up going with it. Honestly, not a super telling first round from Church of Alfonso. On the other side, I think we know exactly what TAS wants to do this game.
Absolutely, it is all about this Vayne. The Kayn is really interesting. I'm really unsure why they picked it here. I'm not a big Kayn player myself, but I would think that you'd want something tankier to protect your Vayne. That being said, you can go red Kayn. It's pretty good into the set and the Thresh, getting it really nice and tanky, stacking that HP. So I can see why they picked it.
Yeah, there's some sustained damage there. More importantly, there's a lot of CC that can come out of that. It's just able to be a good aggro tank, and I think that could be a good option to just kind of stand in front of that Vayne. Right now, the range deficit is not great for TAS. Obviously, picking that Vayne into a team with no immobile tanks is not necessarily what you want to do. She's not really first pickable at this point. But they're locked in on it now, and they have to try and work around it. Alfonso deciding to take away the option for that Worm to stand in front of that Vayne, which is a good call. That Victor has been a staple of the fourth ban for TAS so far, and they're going to keep with it. And then the Kiana taken away as well. Another big pick. Paytime was very good on that. And it looks like that Silas, who has slipped through the first round of picks and bans again, is going to get taken away on the second.
Yeah, taking away 2 picks that we saw pop off and the 2 respective wins that these teams have. K1ZZ Silas was absolutely dominant from the top side of the map, not something you see often. Meanwhile, I really liked Paytime's Kiana, taking a very difficult champion, very good on the patch, and piloting it to a pretty solid degree to pick up that win convincingly.
Yeah, no, there wasn't big enough of mistakes to really cost them at all, and it looks like, yeah, it is going to be that Silas ban that is taken away. And now from the side of TAS, they really need some, they need an option, I think, to have some wave clear. So almost certainly they need to pick up a mage here. They really don't have any good options for top lane. Obviously, that's going to be facing into Set. Set is a good option for shutting down that Vayne, because you can throw any tanky frontliner that you put in front of Set just back into the team. And there's that 4th round Malphite again into Raw AD. Now, is it going to be the double AP pickup on the side of Church of Alfonso this time?
Yeah, it could be. I understand why you have to go with the Malphite here. It's why the Set pick is so good. It's that no matter what Team Asorth wants to put K1ZZ on, if it fits the composition, it's countered by Set. So, kind of rough that they have to be in that spot. The Malphite is pretty simple. Does look like Church of Alfonso is going towards that ability power, getting that magic damage out. Make sure that Malphite is able to be collapsed. Diana is going to be the pick that's probably going through for Paytime. We mostly see Diana in the jungle these days. We'll have to see what this last pick is for Church of Alfonso. It could be some more magic damage coming through in that mid lane. Maybe something like a Corki could be really strong in terms of ripping through that Malphite.
Yeah, and it looks like you're totally right. It looks like we could be looking at Corki indeed. Now, good makes damage to try and make sure that there's no Malphite issue. I like that Diana has stayed on the blue side of the Rift. And it's interesting that these teams have been prioritizing red side, wanting to make sure that they get that double pick first. They want to make sure that they have counter pick last. Now, where is TAS going to put that final counter pick? They still haven't picked up the mid laner. They know they're playing into Corki at this point, unless this is some wild Corki jungle. And that is an interesting one if they do want to put that onto Hisme. Irelia would be very cool.
Let's see. Yeah, they're going to lock it in. So I really like this Asorth composition. I think it is tragically short-ranged, and that Church of Alfonso should be able to take advantage of that with the Ashe.
Yeah, no, and I think given how Ashe works, I think that this could be a good opportunity for Church, obviously playing through the mid-game. The warding is going to be very important for TAS to try and find some way in.
Absolutely.
But moving towards the Rift, I mean, we're gonna know that there's gonna be some way for there needs to be some way for TAS to find a way in on this composition. It's going to be very challenging.
So as these level ones, or rather as this early game starts out, we see that it is the Irelia top, and it's actually going to be the Malphite mid into the Corki. I actually really like that swap. I didn't think of that coming from the draft, but it's going to be a nicer matchup into the set up in the top side. And the Malphite into the Corki should be fine enough in the early stages of the game. You still have the Malphite that's really good in the team composition. Not sure about Malphite into Corki specifically. I would think Corki would get a lot of damage off of Malphite, but in the early stages of the game, with the Corki's not too strong, shouldn't be a big issue. Pretty normal start from teams. We see both junglers deciding to go back and pick up a sweeper. And we're going to see both junglers start their red buffs. It looks like no, Kane is going to start the Raptors by himself, leashless. That's
yeah, it could give him a good opportunity to just trade the crab. I am the eternal meta slave, as you know. I don't think this is an awful angle for AP Malphite. I think that could be a very good way to break down what Church of Alfonso wants to do, which is set up a front to back, get some flanking Malphite in there, layer the Kayn on top of that, get that in there with the Irelia. And sure, maybe Malphite goes 1 for 0, but if you chunk a bunch of people, now Irelia is there for cleanup, now Kayn's there for cleanup, and that could actually turn this composition away from being focused around that Vayne, which, you know, it wouldn't be great because obviously you have to put so many resources into that Vayne, but this isn't an awful angle if that is what they decide to go for Hisme. I don't think that that's what we'll be seeing. I think the tank Malphite is more traditional, and I think that will do a very good job in this composition regardless, but I wouldn't hate to see it. I think it could work here.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I actually really like AP Malphite here, really shutting down what Ashe wants to do, and Ashe is very good into this traditionally low-range composition, but if Ashe has to constantly respect a one-shot...
Level 2. No, it doesn't end up happening. Gua just tumbles out of the way.
Yep, LTY takes that risk, puts that 5-minute cooldown on cooldown, doesn't come up with anything thrown out that hook, no fish to catch.
Yeah, no. Gua able to just tumble out of the way. And that is just immediate pressure on that bot side. Now I like K1 going deep for that ward, catching where the Diana is, able to catch that Gromp, and obviously moving towards the crabs. We're going to know where that Diana is, and K1 should be able to play quite comfortably in that top lane as a result.
Yeah, so we're seeing that both junglers are pretty much full clearing. The Kayn is the one full clearing, going to end up with 5 camps prior to that. Scuttle Crab spawning. Diana's in the river a little early, only having cleared 4 camps. Trying to find an angle up on this Aurelia topside. Going to wrap around the bushes. Let's see if Paytime can find K1ZZ.
Yeah, here comes the engaged Cold Blaster, landing the Face Breaker, immediately going in. Now Paytime has to try and turn this around. Doesn't have the E reset, so it looks like K1's going to be quite comfortable to just walk away. And then does manage to evade that early gank. We did know... TAS did know that gank could be coming. They did see Paytime in the topside jungle. They know where they started. So, well avoided. No flashes burnt, and just time wasted.
Yeah, one of the tricky things about ganking in Aurelia is that if you try and come at her from behind, you're just giving her an angle out, and we see that right there. K1ZZ, even though gets caught up in the CC early, but ooh, we're getting a fight over the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, it looks like Beatray's going to just try and go for Beshiwap here. Does manage to dodge the hook. The Scuttle Crab completely left alone. Now the mid laner starts to roam down, but Beatray's on top of Beshiwap. LTY doesn't have a way to get Beshiwap out of there. There's no lantern there. There's the flash out. Beshiwap does barely survive. And here comes Paytime, but does get condemned into the wall. The first blood over to Onbo, but the fight is not over. RHC in the middle there. His mate now creating a different fight, but now is 1v3. Beatray trying to find his way over the wall. Doesn't pick up LTY. Now his mate getting taken quite low. Gua in the middle of 3. Does try to chase down RHC. Does flash for that kill. Doesn't quite pick it up on the auto attack, but LTY is caught in the river with Onbo, and LTY, his mate taken very low by Cold Blaster. The W does not finish him off. Gua taking the E. Doesn't get Beshiwap, and everyone makes it out on a sliver.
Oh, but there's more. Paytime's back in on Gua, and the Lunar Rush comes out. Gua should fall soon. Passive comes out. Onbo slows Paytime down, might keep Gua safe for now. The Polymorph is going to come out, but there's the Pale Cascade and the Lunar Rush going to take out Gua. But the fight continues. Betray trying to walk away, but Paytime and RHC are here. Betray looking for a way over the wall. Pale Cascade hits, no Lunar Rush to follow it up, and now we're going to stop fighting.
And did that feel like 3 kills to anybody else? Because it didn't to me. There were so many health bars dropped low, so many flashes burnt, and just about everybody's is on cooldown. But overall, favor to TAS. They are going to lose the they are going to lose the bot prio now, as it took a little bit for those recalls to finally come through. But what a scrappy fight. It's very clear that neither of these teams want to give up the lead. These games have been dominated from the early game so far in this set, and it's clear that there's a little bit of anxiety about giving away those early kills, and so everybody is there to back that stuff up. There's no TP available from K1 or Cold Blaster to get in there to back that up, so just a solid 4v4 at the 4-minute mark, and turns into a 1-for-2 in favor of TAS.
Yeah, so that fight was so long that actually over the course of the fight, Cold Blaster no, maybe it was RHC. Anyway, I'm pretty sure Cold Blaster did teleport his way down there because the Face Breaker almost took out, I believe it was Hismay when it hit.
Oh, you're totally right, yeah.
Damage. But K1ZZ actually opting to save the teleport. I'm surprised because if K1ZZ had been there, probably would have cleaned up a lot more kills for TAS, but going to find themselves a very solid CS advantage as the result, using that teleport to get back to lane a little faster.
Yeah, and just like that, we're looking at Hismay does have that ultimate advantage in the mid lane, has not clearly showed where that build's going yet, just the Boots and Ruby Crystal, which does indicate that this will be a tank Malphite, but you know, still don't hate if we want to go for the full damage. I think that would be really cool this game. I think that could be a good opportunity. Now Gua getting caught out by LTY does manage to read the tumble, and there's the hook connecting. Gua stunning up Beshiwap, getting that damage off of him, but can they walk away? Doesn't have the movement speed from his passive, but is able to walk away from Ashe, and it looks like Beatray's just going to be undetected on Draken.
Yeah, but there comes the hawk shot. Now, Betray is detected, but is there anything that Church of Alfonso can do about it? I don't think so. Mid-priority, bot lane even, means Betray is going to cleanly and safely walk away with that Cloud Drake.
Yeah, and nice early dragon. That'll get them on top. Obviously, we have the Ocean Dragon coming up next, so we're looking at one of 2 big souls coming up between the Mountain Drake and the Infernal. Obviously, we won't know that for another 5 minutes, but if this mid-prio continues, I think that could be a big deal. It's strange for me, really, to see that this Malphite is managing to maintain that mid prio. What isn't strange, though, is in this bot lane. I say that, looks like we're going to have an engage on the top side, K1 and Cold Blaster. Is there going to be any way out of this for K1? Looks like it's just going to be a nice light, just W to Q. That's all. But the CS in the bot lane very much favoring Beshiwap this time. It's nice to see that more dominance coming up from this Ashe pick. Obviously, what was a good matchup last time. There's the ultimate coming down from K1. There's the ulti back into the tower, though. Cold Blaster getting K1 quite low. The tower shot does connect. 150 HP, pops that Corrupting Pot, and is able to heal back up. And it's basically sides even.
Yeah, I think that K1ZZ didn't quite respect Set's ability to use that showstopper into the tower, but Hisby is going to use that unstoppable force in. Diana trying to throw out as much damage as possible, but Paytime is taken out by that mid-jungle duo.
Yeah, and there's the damage in, and now looks like Shadow Assassin is ready now for the Kayn. Is that going to be the strategy? It looks like we are looking for Conqueror, so obviously there's going to be a delay if this does decide to go for Rost. We're going to see if there's going to be an evolution now. Does not look like it, and I think that's logical. I think they want Red Kayn right now.
Absolutely.
I don't see any reason why they'd want to go away from that, especially if this Malphite... Yes, okay, so this Malphite is going to be going in for the tank option, so having the aggro tank in there with him would be very good. Across the map right now, looking at just over a 1k gold lead for the side of TAS. Nothing huge yet. They do have that dragon on their side, but they do have the scaling with this Vayne, with this Irelia. It's going to be about how Church of Alfonso can try and find the way back in with the engage that they have with this Ashe and with the Diana.
Absolutely. So far, we've seen Team Acor take this early game, but LTY landing a nasty hook. Exhaust goes down onto Gua, running for his life, but there will be none to be found. Dark Passage takes Beshiwap right up into range, and Gua falls despite the cleanse.
Dongo, you need to clip that in slow motion. What a hook from LTY, going around the range minion, catching that lollipop hook, and there goes Gua. There's that advantage even being leveraged even more from that Ashe lane, just having the health advantage. No ulti popped, and there's going to be no trade back. There's no way that B-Tray's going to be able to do anything with the Ashe ulti still up, and that's just a really good advantage just pulled out of that 2v2 lane for Church of Alfonso.
Absolutely, B-Tray is going to have to walk over to that bot side, pick up some of the farm that Gua was going to miss. So good on them for that rotation. I maybe would have liked to see B-Tray go up and take the Rift Herald instead, but K1ZZ doesn't quite have the priority for it. In fact, getting chunked out by Cold Blaster.
And I think traditionally at this point, Set is the counter to Irelia in lane. Irelia is a very strong laner up there. Now, obviously, this is very much a skill matchup, and that's being showed right now. K1 seeming to have the upper edge. There's no Bramble Vest being built on the side of Cold Blaster at the moment. Does have the steel caps done, so that's going to be a lot of the damage out of Irelia dealt with. But just the gold advantage right now is very big. Now, Onbo walking under turret there, getting very low. I don't see how you get away from Ashe with ulti there, but he does. It looks like there's a big engage trying to be happening mid lane. 2v4 on the side of Church of Alfonso, but they don't find anything. It looks like it's just going to be Rift Herald.
Yeah, we saw them out. Well, we didn't see it, but what happened is that the Malphite went down trying to catch out RHC. RHC was able to flash it, and the troops came in to come and support him, so the mid-jungle duo of Team Acor had to back off.
And now B-Tray kind of in some hot water here, getting caught out by LTY. The hook is still available. He's been very solid with us so far and does land it. There's the engage. There's the Ashe ulti from top lane. Manages to catch off the reinforcing Irelia. Now Paytime on top of B-Tray. Great flash. Gets the smite down. Keeps himself alive, but the shutdown comes through for Paytime. Ultimate connects for Irelia, but immediately taken away. K1 stunned up with 3. Great play from Cold Blaster to get them all locked down, but now does Hisme try and have a way out. K1 trying to stay on the side, give the availability for the stun to get Cold Blaster off of his Malphite. There's the speed picked up from the Q. Looks like they're going to be able to walk out of there. Onbo able to give the speed ups. And now the engage in the bot side flash for Gua, but great flash reaction for Beshiwap to not get stunned up against the wall.
This game is so exciting, Escape. Every single second that we look at this game, a fight breaks out in a new spot. B-Tray finds himself a little too deep trying to stop the Rift Herald play, and he does stop the Rift Herald play at the cost of his life because Hisme had used that Malphite ultimate earlier into that just sort of continuous engage, wasn't able to bail out B-Tray, so actually going to get taken out there. But notably, Herald doesn't go over to anyone. Ocean Drake is going to spawn in 2 seconds here, and we're going to have to see the macro play from these junglers. So far, they're both pathing down over to that Drake, so I think that's what these teams are going to be targeting in the next minute and a half.
The reset timing has not come out for K1 yet. Does have a huge gold advantage in the top lane just off of that farm. It's very ridiculous to say that. Now Betray caught out in the bot lane, is able to get over the wall, but the hook comes down looking for Betray, but instead picks up Onbo. Onbo is able to shield and walk away. Doesn't look like there's going to be anything found out of that, but now the recall's coming in from K1, and now we could see this rotate towards the Dragon. All of this 1k gold lead that is on the side of TAS is on that Irelia. Will there be any contention? The Corki package is available. It looks like TAS is just going to give it up. The recall had come through from Gua, and that is Ocean Dragon over and Infernal Soul elected.
Yep, I think that's a pretty safe call. Oh, but speaking of not safe calls, RHC going to use that Valkyrie package right into the mid lane. Unstoppable Force going to have to be used for Hisme's escape.
Yeah, no, and good on him to just find his way out of there. Able to walk back to his jungler, let him know everything's okay, and continue onto those Raptors. But yeah, no, a good play from RHC to try and burn that, get that ultimate cooldown down. Now, obviously, that is a lot of Corki's damage, but you want to have that available for those dragons, for those objectives. That is when it's at its strongest. And I think that package is a big part of the reason why TAS was not able to contest that dragon.
Absolutely, just having it up, and oh my goodness, Paytime and LTY going deep into the jungle to pick up that red buff. K1ZC looking for an angle, but it's actually Hisme getting flanked, trying to flank the jungle invaders. Not quite going to be able to catch up to him, but does Hisme have an angle out of there? Looks like oh my goodness, LTY and Paytime just locking them up, going to find that kill onto Hisme. K1ZZ has to retreat under tower.
And once again, that's a play setting up something for the side of for COF. Obviously, they don't have the Malphite ultimate available. They don't have Flash available, so they can't actually get that flank. And with that knowledge, they stick 4 into that topside jungle, say, hey, we're going to take away all your camps. We're going to get the pressure on the top side. Now Gu and Beshiwap taking this 1v1. I really don't know who wins it at this point, but I do know who wins this.
Oh my goodness.
The hook into the Lantern down onto Betray. Does he have a way out of there? There's the Lulu ultimate that comes down. Now on the top side, K1 trying to find some way onto Cold Blast, but no damage is done. Here comes Hisme. No ultimate available on that Malphite. The Ash ult goes wide. Now, bunch of people stacked on top of each other in the middle. K1 just pick up the first kill on LTY. Now, chasing down Paytime is Onbo and Betray. Surely they will pick this kill up. Betray actually getting taken quite low, but is going to get that shut down. And those are kills over to TAS, and boy, did they need them now.
Yeah, absolutely. Hisme with a great teleport finds TAS in a situation where they can stop the tower push, pick up some gold, and try and get some of this momentum back. But I just want to talk for a second about how crazy LTY has been playing on this Thresh this game. Every opportunity I see the death sentence hook land onto a key target, the Lantern comes out, they get locked up. Oh my goodness, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, no, he's been playing this very, very well, and it's been instrumental to just making sure that his carries are up, getting these kills. Obviously, the KP doesn't look huge, but when you look at how many kills there are in the game, he's been part of most of them. LTY just been capable of creating so much pressure for his team. And that's a big thing to do on Thresh, you know, that's important. You're on a playmaking support. You need to get something done. I say that, getting something done right now. Hisme just getting hugely chunked out. Ombo is there for the support, but now I think that Corki is finally starting to take control of that lane.
Yeah, this is something I mentioned in draft, that when the Corki was picked, I mentioned that it would be a really good option to start ripping through this Malphite. And yes, in the early game, I do like the lane swap to get Malphite an earlier advantage, because Set is also really good in the Malphite. That being said, now that we're at a point in the game where the Corki's almost at that first item, the damage is going to start ripping through a champion who's very armor focused.
Yeah, no, and he's building as much magic resistance as he can, which means that you cannot go back into that top lane and try and deal with that set. You're itemized completely wrong for it. And there's no way that we can really see Hisme having a good time mid lane versus RHC. So he's going to be stuck there, just trying to equalize as much as he can, get as much farm, as much XP as he possibly can, as RHC is going to pull out a small lead. The lead bot lane has been maintained, though, for Beshiwap. Over that Vayne, Gua has looked for a couple of 1v1s, but just has not gotten them. And it's a lot of confidence, but these bot laners have basically been left alone. And in the long run, that is beneficial for the Vayne. Now, the Flash is available here to get around the ulti. Does he take it? No, the cleanse comes out instead. Honestly, good option. Make sure it doesn't take any extra damage and a lower cooldown used.
Yeah, we've sort of seen these ADCs get into some little scrappy fights with no supports around. It's been going pretty even, not quite able to find Gua, but LTY is here. Gua's going in, but LTY is here. The exhaust goes down, Flay goes down. Gua is not able to get to Beshiwap, and despite the wild growth, both bot laners from the side of TAS are going to drop. Meanwhile, Betray is going to respond. Herald going down in mid lane with his mate going right there. This might be the trade back onto the tower.
And this is a race for first tower, but that's what happens when you're missing that support in the bot lane. The vision control is bound to suffer. And there it is. They take that, what they think is a 2v1 engage onto Beshiwap, but it is not to be. LTY sitting right in the wings. The TP ready for RHC. Now Paytime forces Zanya's under tower as the second charge comes through. No, the smite to take it away. But that is first turret over to his man Betray on the side of TAS. And this turret is finally matched now from Beshiwap and LTY.
Yep, the Herald going down not only means that TAS get the first turret, but members of Church of Alfonso actually have to walk away from that bottom one. So now, it's going to be TAS who has the first shot onto this dragon, and with mid completely shoved out, it's a complete possibility for TAS to just pick this one up.
Yeah, no, Hisme looking like he's going to be the choke protection. He's got that Malphite ulti available. He's going to try and keep the team off. It does successfully happen, but here comes RHC on that package now. Does he find a way out? Does have flash available. Should have the Valkyrie and does manage to make his way out. There's the two-man ulti from Hisme. Here comes Gua. Betray taking quite low, but is going to heal so much outside the ulti. And here's K1 with the TP advantage in the top lane. Able to start cleaning up this fight immediately. Down goes the ADC. That is a large shutdown onto Hisme. And this is not rotatable for Baron, but it is going to be rotatable for more kills. Great flash over the wall. Didn't have the condemn available, but the RHC does burn flash anyway. And this looks like it's going to be mid-inner. 600 additional gold over to TAS after all the kills and Dragon.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they can actually knock it down. It looks like there's a bit of a mistake with taking the tower, and oh no, Betray is executed trying to get that one. And that means that that inner tower is notably not going to fall in the mid lane.
One of the comments we had in the previous games about how these teams are building was just focused around whether or not there was healing reduction. And there is a lot of healing on the side of TAS right now. You have a Red Kayn, which is just known for how much he heals. You've got Irelia, who's just, right now is able to jump into the middle of your team and heal a full health bar. You have a shield bow on the way for Vayne. And there's no executioners taken from either of the ADCs. You have Corki, who can easily pick that up. You have Ashe, who can easily pick that up. Neither one of them are going to take it, and that's going to hurt their damages as these first items start to roll through, especially once the Vayne gets the shield bow finished. I say that K1, thinking that he's got a lone 1v1 up here, tries to burn flash to find his way out, but only finds LTY, and this is going to be a quick kill down, actually doing so much damage to RHC. That is not a small Irelia, and not a small shutdown either that goes over to Paytime.
I have to think if K1ZZ had the ability to pop that Gore Drinker, might have been able to get RHC there a little defenseless, showing how strong Irelia can be in these dueling situations. Paytime looking for the red buff, but B tries to step ahead. LTY and Paytime just being a menace up in the red side, red jungle, and they're going to find Betray onto the Krugs. It is 1v3 to start this fight out, but Red Kayn is so tanky, and the wild growth is there. Betray doing so much damage with the Crescent Slash. Teleport is going to come in from Hisme, and Cold Blaster is in a whole lot of trouble.
Oh, manages to get the ulti down into the Ashe ultimate on top of the double kill immediately picked up for Betray. So much damage out of that Red Kayn, and we were kind of worried about the lack of damage that might come from that, but at this point of the game, he's huge. Chasing down RHC does not pick up the W to get out of the Dark Passage, but it does look like they can turn for Baron now. Gua has finally finished that first item of that shield bow, but does get hooked. RHC is there for the burst. The cleanse comes out, but it's a little bit late. Gua does get chunked down to half. They don't know that Beshiwap's there, but Beshiwap is without ulti. Does manage to run up a Gua. Gua popping the ulti to try and find his way out of there. K1 now asking for assistance as LTY to help him get K1 off of Beshiwap, trying to take the kite back, but it's so hard versus Irelia. Gua gets taken so low. Does manage to trade for the kill, but now Beshiwap has gone too far forward. RHC versus two people that are in such low HP bars, but surprise, you don't have the healing reduction, but does get the snipe onto Hisme, but that lack of healing reduction is going to hurt you when you're fighting against a Kanan and Irelia.
That was such a chaotic fight, and I think the reason that fight is so chaotic... Oh, don't start another one. I'm trying to explain. Looking for an angle onto K1ZZ, and the Diana ulti is going to come down. Flash forward from Cold Blaster, looking for an angle, but Paytime is getting chucked so hard, and the numbers are there for TAS. Cold Blaster will be dropping shortly. No Gore Drinker available, and another double kill going over to Betray, who is now 8-2-6 on this game.
Where's your coach? Where's your coach? I want to know that they're watching this game. Tell them to build healing reduction. They need it. It's going to hurt them so badly into Irelia. It's hurting them so badly into Kayn. This Kayn just exploded onto the map after those last two fights, and he's not going to be easy to take down from now on.
Yeah, without executioners coming through from the Corki or from the Ashe, just don't see how you ever touch this Kane. So tanky. Oh man, I'm trying to even think of what I was going to say. Yes, in the earlier exchange, K1ZZ took a lot of energy and a lot of time to hunt down LTY. It's something I've seen Anti do over and over and over again, pursuing that low health bar, but Corki on the back manages to find 2 kills, making the best of a relatively bad situation, catching K1ZZ going a little too deep when the fight was still going on.
Yeah, and it's important to see if there's those overextensions, right? There's some way to find your way back into these team fights. If the main carry, if the person who's still alive is not making sure those health bars, I say that what a hook from LTY. Does decide to take it into the fog of war, 3v3. There's the Diana going into the middle. Surely the ultimate will come out, but it's not quite available. There's the Ashe ulti on top to slow down Hisme. It has used the unstoppable force, but Gua goes down. LTY now in the middle, trying to slow down this menace of a Kane, but there's no healing reduction there to slow him down anymore. RHC now at the threat. Veshiwap, I believe. Yes, getting completely jumped on. K1 trying to chase him down. Onbo trying to be the one to slow down Veshiwap, but there's no way. Hisme taking a fight against RHC that has gone poorly, and Onbo there to support. Covering off his Malphite, but now there's the engage onto the ADC and the support. Another hook lands from LTY. Does take the Thresh Express onto Betray, but you can't kill Kane if you can't stop the healing. And there it is. Kills picked up for TAS, and Hisme is just happy to dance on the scuttle.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, we're watching an absolute clinic on why healing reduction is important. We still don't see it coming through for anyone except Cold Blaster. He needs to be yelling to his teammates, guys, this Kane will never die. This Aurelia will never die. Even the Vayne has prioritized healing with this build. Oh my goodness, you need the healing reduction or there's absolutely no chance. They find a good pick on the Gua, and the damage isn't quite coming through because of the gold lead that TAS have built for themselves. But even though they secure an early kill onto what should be a huge DPS threat, it doesn't matter. You can't kill the Aurelia, you can't kill the Kane, the other members are Lulu and Malphite, you can't get another kill. It doesn't matter that you have the man advantage.
And we were saying that this Vayne would be such a priority, and what a hook for LTY to hit that priority in Champion Select. But that's in Champion Select. Look at the Vayne right now. Gua is not having a standout game on this Vayne, but also doesn't need to. There's so much gold on his other members, and Gua's going to be very comfortable if this game goes late to just pick up gold on the CS, pick up gold as assist. You're going to get strong as Vayne regardless. You have so much built-in damage in your kit. And it's not a worry. And so that pick onto Vayne doesn't mean anything. So now what do you have to do? You have to look at Irelia, you have to look at Betray on the Kane. You don't have the tools you need to be killing those two members. And that's something that Church of Alfonso needs to identify. And I cannot wait to see a longsword go into one of those inventories, just so then we know that they've realized what's going on. But right now, like you say, it's only Cold Blaster that has picked up that Bramble Vest. And really, that is not a wide enough spread of healing reduction to deal with those two champions.
Yep. Pale Cascade is going to miss Diana taking the Dark Passage to get out of Betray's clutches, and that means that Team Asorth have got a really solid control of the vision in this topside river, forcing the members of Church of Alfonso out. It's now going to be a waiting game to see when exactly they want to try and take this Baron. Now, Church of Alfonso does actually have a blue ward on it. K1ZZ looking for an angle, is going to find Paytime. Teleports are coming in, but so much CC onto K1ZZ. Not going to stop him. Wild Growth goes out. Unstoppable Force goes out onto everybody in the fight. And it is going to be a wash. TAS picking up so many kills. Guma going forward to finish him off. Will RHC be able to get out? Gua's going forward. No, it's going to be Gua actually falling as K1ZZ teleports to the top side. Betray, though, should be able to pick up on RHC, but RHC flashes the knockup. Shouldn't matter. Betray is so tanky under that tower. It doesn't matter. Exhaust coming out from Onbo onto Cold Blaster. Going to get Kane out of that fight. Wow.
And the 6k gold lead almost gets pushed up to 7, but I think I know when they're going to finally go for that Baron. I think that'll be right soon. They have such an advantage off of this fight. That Kane is enormous. There's still, I don't want to harp on it all game, but there's no way that you're going to be taking down those two champions. There is one way to counter them, and it's very sustained. Make sure that they're CC'd, and make sure that they can't heal back when they come out of it. And you've got one of those checks. You've got the Diana, you've got the set there, you've got the Thresh, but you need to find some way to shut down part 2. And it's just not there yet, and these threats will only get bigger as the game goes later. We're at the 26-minute mark. We're looking at Soul Point for the side of TAS. They can look for Baron whenever they really want to force a fight. And what's the answer right now? RHC isn't doing enough damage. Paytime not doing enough damage. The set has been there late. Beshiwap is not dealing enough on this Ashe, but how can you? You're getting run down by 2 champions, and Ashe does not like it.
Yeah, so I've got some bad news for you, Escape. If we look in the inventories of the Corki and the Ashe, we see a Sheen and a Recurve Bow being the items that they have opted to pick up. There is no healing reduction in sight. We gotta hope that maybe Paytime is the one who takes note and buys an Oblivion Orb, but Paytime's also really gonna want to go towards that Zhonya's Hourglass with 8 deaths over on this Diana. It's notable how she keeps going into these fights and getting exploded.
You need to have some way to get the Diana back out if she's not going to kill the entire team as soon as she presses the R button. They don't have that right now. And I think right now it's just the build that's been hurting them. Beshiwap build had issues in the previous game. I think this is something that may be on nerves. They're far enough behind right now that this really starts to affect you. You start thinking about, okay, maybe this game's lost. We need to look at any sort of like future play that we can come up with, and you start to get in your own head, and really you're missing the answer that's right in front of you right now as Church of Alfonso. They need to start making some solutions, but right now Betray is the problem as he finds an engage onto 2, and really you take a big chunk of damage like that and it's not nice, but it doesn't matter. It's just going to heal it all back. You can take the fight right now with this much HP. Hisme may be looking for the unstoppable force over the wall. Isn't going to happen, and we do see that package is loaded up right now for RHC. Everyone on the bot side of this map as the dragon starts to spawn. The hook goes wide on K1. Gua, the only one in the pit now, as Onbo and Hisme start to rotate over. We will see them start to stance up for dragon. And will COF have any way to find some sort of engage into this fight? Betray making his way into pit now. K1 looking for some kind of flank. Cold Blaster catches K1, and now they start to take the engage. Now, is Gua going to stay on Dragon? We see that Paytime staying on the wings now, looking to steal the Dragon as he does go in, but Betray's in the middle of his team. Beshiwap gets double ulted on and goes down low. The Paytime unable to pick up the smite, unable to pick up kills, but you can't deal with Kayn. Kayn continuing to cause problems on this backline. The Dragon is picked up by K1 as now the rest of TAS starts to find this re-engage. Betray just beating down the Thresh, forcing the flash on a Cold Blaster, and now trying to chase down RHC. There's no way you can kill him. He's just going to get his full health bar off of every single Q. And what do you do as Church of Alfonso?
You buy healing reduction.
And that's it. That is the simplest lesson that you could have right here, as they get aced. TAS in the base. 7 seconds on Beshiwap, 15 on the Thresh of LTY, who played phenomenally this game, but that was not enough. This is a game that doesn't come down to draft, it doesn't come down to execution, it comes down simply to build craft, and it was not there. There's an easy way to shut this down, and that is an adaptation that needs to be made for Church of Alfonso. Now, we saw them adapt very quickly in the previous game, and it looks like maybe this one won't be over yet, as Betray just trying to show off how many turrets he can dive at the same time here. Ultimate comes down onto LTY as he's basically at the fountain, does get flayed in and will go down. 1,000 gold over to Ashe as the rest of the team trying to focus down this Nexus, and it looks like they will have to walk away, but this is only delaying the inevitable, I'm afraid.
Oh my goodness, wait, we might have seen Betray make a huge mistake if they don't find a way to turn back on, but the unstoppable force is going to seal it. Paytime drops, LTY drops, RHC has to Valkyrie out. Will TAS be able to close this? They can't seem to decide. Some members want to leave the base, some members want to go for the end. It looks like ultimately cooler heads are going to prevail. They understand that they have an 11,000 gold lead. There's going to be plenty of opportunities to take that Nexus, but my goodness, I can't believe this game's still alive.
Yeah, Betray just handing over that crucial kill, again, just trying to show off how many towers he can dive, forgetting how much that third one will do to him, and just gets caught under the fountain and gives that kill over. But at the end of the day, it's really not going to... Have you seen the inventory of Ashe?
Oh my goodness, Escape, I cannot believe it.
That
1,000 gold shutdown, and 850 of it goes into the holy grail that could keep Church of Alfonso alive in this game with the healing reduction going through. The Kayn is killable, but RHC might be already dead. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to stun. K1's easy for a long time. LTY landing so much CC, going to trade back another huge shutdown onto the Ashe. Now,
2,000 shutdowns.
TAS are going to trade this for the Baron. However, this was something that they probably were already going to get considering the game state, the state of the vision, the state of the towers. Importantly, the Ashe has just picked up 2,000 gold on back-to-back kills. 850 of it has been spent on the optimal item to keep COF in this game. Now we're gonna have to see them fight tooth and nail at this Nexus. Gua is notably not here yet, and the siege is a little uncoordinated from the side of TAS, not quite being able to figure out how they want to use this Baron buff quite yet. Looks like ultimately all their members are going to coordinate on the bot side of the map. K1ZZ has the teleport available, so they should be able to group S5 soon.
Yeah, and finally, there's that Bork finish. We are looking at 3 items on the Ashe right now. But think about how well Ashe did in lane. Think about how well Vayne did. They're even. That is how detrimental this game has been to them. And Hisme, happy to take up the hook, just sitting there, gets the Guardian proc, Cold Blaster, trying to find his way out. Betray walking in. There's the Showstopper straight into the wall there, so the damage is immediate, but Cold Blaster go down so fast. Beshiwap with that double shutdown has no option. There's so much more gold than that on Betray, and there's so much more gold than that on TAS. As they walk down the Nexus, it was a valiant defense, but that is game number 3, picked up for TAS, putting it to match point.
Oh my goodness, what a dramatic game. A nice breath of fresh air from what was a pretty dominant stomp from COF in Game 2. It was the Betray show in Game 3, going through unchecked for the majority of the game. And yes, we talked about Grievous Wounds a lot. And yes, the Grievous Wounds did come through. About, 25 minutes too late, you saw Betray heal his entire HP bar off of ulting the Ashe. And oh my goodness, just look at the damage charts. That is so gross, the amount of damage coming out from that Kayn. Oh my goodness.
We said the focus for that game would be the Vayne. And really, looking at it, it could have been the Vayne. But it didn't have to be. Betray took over that game completely on his own, able to just heal his whole health bar back, really in the blink of an eye, dealing so much damage. It's just disgusting, dealing so much damage to the side of Church of Alfonso, and they did not have the answers they needed. That composition did not meld the way they needed it to. They went for picks that worked for them in previous games, and it did not work in the same way. And I think, unfortunately, that late call in draft made a big difference, but I hate to harp on it as much as we do, but come on, guys. You need to build the right items. It's so important.
Yep, a few item mistakes. This Kayn healed more than any member on COF dealt. How insane is that?
That's as terrifying as it gets. I'm afraid that they really just did not have the option to deal with him in any given way. Something to be said for how well LTY played on that Thresh. Obviously had a really solid game, but at the end of the day, still pushes them over to match point. Still needs to be big adaptation from Church of Alfonso, and we will see if they can find that one going into a very important Game 4. Don't go anywhere.
The biggest weakness that TAS has in their scrappy, aggressive, team fighty style is their scrappy, aggressive, team fighty style. They have great performances in individual fights, and if they're able to pop off, they'll do really, really well in those individual laning fights. It's translating that into a cross the map sort of situation that they tend to struggle with. And there are some instances where a lot of these teams are anticipating the fight and they're ready for it and they're able to counteract it. So unfortunately, they really need to work on their drafting and they really need to work on their matchups, because those two things have been hurting them throughout the course of this season, where teams, it feels like teams essentially have their number, and what was working for them back when they were performing so well just isn't working for them now.